Hello and welcome back to FT Business School. By global standards, Asian business schools are relative novices. Most have been established in the past 20 or 30 years. For many of them, this has meant trying to play catch-up with their US or European counterparts. But others believe Asian business schools should do things differently. Indeed, that Asian business schools can be the innovators on the education scene. Gerry George is Dean of the Chian School of Business at Singapore Management University. Professor George, why is it that Asian business schools, and I appreciate that Asia isn't one single market, but why do you think they should be doing things differently than US or European schools?
It's an opportunity. We don't have the legacy effects that other business schools have. So when you're starting something from scratch, you start asking what are the fundamental principles behind an innovative business education, and how would that be different?
Right, and what are those big differences then in Asia?
So the first thing is we've tried, if you look at our history, we are a very young university. We're 15 years old. Singapore Management University, in those 15 years, has gone from the first class of a couple of hundred students to about 9,000 students this year. So this growth means that you have to start thinking about new ways of doing things in Asia.
What are the fundamental differences between something like an Asian business school and something like Wharton, which I think was one of the schools that was involved in when SMU was founded?
The context and cultures are very different. So when you think about Asia, in your mind, you usually think about China or perhaps India. But when we think about Singapore, it's in the middle of 10 countries that constitute ASEAN. You've got very different cultures, you've got very different political and social contexts, and if you were to run a business in that context, then you have to have completely different skills, a different approach to decision making, and a different way of engaging with customers than we do have now.
Right. So why does this mean different programs, different teaching methods, or is it the relationship between yourself and companies that is different?
It's all of those. So let me take them one at a time. The first one is you have to be embedded in the context. When I say that, you have to have much stronger relationships with industry and your partners in that region. So does that mean internships and jobs? And in terms of even defining your curriculum, I think that's very important, working with industry to shape that. The second one is the needs of the region are very different from the West. So if you look at poverty or economic well-being and so forth, you have to train managers to build that environment, which is very different from a global manager who it doesn't matter where he or she studies, they move from one place to the other. Our remit is about developing Singapore, it's about developing the region, and making sure that we build content, knowledge content, the way we teach, specific to Asia.
Right. So what do you think US and European business schools can learn from business schools in Singapore or China or India?
A close link to industry is critical. I also say that we are much more porous in our boundaries. So if you look at my faculty of 125 faculty, about half of them are practice or education track faculty. So what does that mean? It means that we are much more flexible in bringing people from industry to teach and then move through. Right? The same thing when we look at our faculty, I'm encouraging our tenure track faculty to take secondments a year off and then go and work with industry so that you are better able to understand their problems and being more regional about it. You have to understand that our trained research faculty are from the US or from Europe. So their mental model is about understanding problems of the West. So when they come to Singapore, I ask them, you can't come to Singapore with the idea of staying, oh, this is just a place to work. You really, truly have to embrace that Asian identity. You can be global. It's not about the ethnicity of where you come from, but it's about the approach of being embedded in that context, working with industry, understanding the problems of the region. How do you make sure that the research that we work on actually matters to the folks who support us?
Professor George, thank you very much indeed. For more interviews with business school deans, go to ft.com/business education.